So this is the motivation code, and it is the only narrative-based approach to a personality assessment that you've ever seen. Everybody else asks you questions like, would you rather stay at home and read a book on a Friday night, or would you like to go out with friends and go partying? And you're like, gosh, that word partying is not my idea of fun. So no, I would prefer to, I guess, stay home and read a book. And then 3 questions later, would you prefer to stay at home and watch TV show all by yourself, alone, without friends? Or would you like to, go to a, all-night festival? And you're like, ooh, the all-night is no, but gosh, I don't want to be alone at home watching a show. And so you're left with these choices that later, after all the stack ranking and math that's done, it says, here's who you are. And you look at it and you go, kind of. But at the end of the day, the motivation code is completely different. Because the motivation code starts by saying, hey, tell us, right? Tell us a story of your life, right? A place where you felt deep satisfaction. There's only one person who knows that, and that's you. And so what prompted you to get involved? What did you actually do? And what was satisfying to you? We're asking you to tell your story. And then what you notice is the questions we're asking are answered through the filter of how you feel about that particular story. Let me show you. These questions are ones that help us understand who you are, but they're about your story. So you have this story that you did, right? So your story, I crafted and delivered a talk with almost no notice for more than 3,000 people. I was invited to step in and help. I crafted a talk. And what was enjoyable? Well, doing it last minute and delivering something that made people super happy, all of that. So then it asks you, right? When you think through that story, well, what about that story was most satisfying, right? I solved problems, and you go, yeah, that was part of it. I honed my skills to near perfection. Yes, I got the response I wanted. Yeah, for sure. I stood out from the crowd. Well, absolutely. There's something about that that's deeply satisfying. I had what it took to be part of the group. Not really a thing for me, right? I competed and I excelled. Yeah. My approach was different than all the others. Yes, but that wasn't what made it deeply satisfying. I made it better than it was before. Yeah, but again, not part of what made it satisfying for me, right? I learned something new and showed that I could do it. Yeah, there's definitely an element to that, right? And so as I'm answering these questions, notice it's not fake articulation of, would you want to do A or B? And you're like, gosh, neither of those is perfect, right? I had what it took to be on the team, not really applicable. I brought my ideals into the real world. Sure. I pushed myself to the very best. Absolutely. I shouldered up central responsibility. I was a key part of this. Yeah, that's part of it. I focused on the challenge and I met it. Oh, absolutely. I comprehended complex material and expressed it well. Yeah, but in this particular case, that wasn't a key part of it, but it was what's important to me. I established a solid foundation, not really a big deal. I found opportunities to continuously explore, not related to this at all, right? In fact, I can put not applicable. I performed with impeccable skill. Yeah, absolutely. That's a part of what made it exciting for me. And what you're seeing is, as we're asking these questions, we're getting to the core of something, which of course you guessed by the name of the website. We're getting to the core of what motivates you. It's not that all these things are good or bad, right? As I walk through these, they're not good or bad. What they are is unique to me. What things motivate me? I handled the pressure and pulled it off. Absolutely. I analyzed the problem and solved it. Yeah. I maximized the potential of the deal. Yeah, sure. I made my ideas and ideals actually happen. Yeah, that was part of it, right? I made things better. Not part of the thing for me. Now notice if I pick a different story, I made things better, could be a hugely satisfying component, but it's not this story. And we're answering these questions in the context of this story, which we're gonna do 2 more times because we collect 3 stories. I was in control of how things got done. Yeah, that's always a big part for me. I gained results that stood the test of time. Yeah, not that big a deal. I served well where I was needed. Yeah, but not a big deal. I brought about change of significant impact. I love that, but not related to this story, right? And so as I'm doing this, I'm giving us the data we need to be clear about who I am. I made a real impact. I finally possessed what I was after. No, maybe even lower than that. I competed what I set out to do. Yeah, but that wasn't satisfying. I really showed what I could do. Yeah, that's a big deal. I did it the right way. Fine. I shone in the spotlight. Yeah, that's always fun. I was involved in the group in meaningful ways. Not part of it. I saw possibilities others couldn't see. Yeah, maybe a little. In the face of hardship, writing a talk and delivering it is not hardship for me. It could be for other people, but not for me, right? And so we wrap this up, right? And as I write, it looks like there's a couple more, right? I took care of others. And just remember, right? This is an assessment that might take you 30 minutes, right? As you do 10 minutes for each story. But I took care of others is not a big deal. I was in charge of the situation, yes, but not a huge deal. I functioned rightly and correctly, not a big deal. I pressed beyond the limits of, no, not really, not a big deal. I played a major role in making this happen, for sure. I worked closely with others in combined effort. No, not in this case. I set up and ran things effectively. Not a big deal here. I engaged in the process of developing. Not a big deal. I made regular progress. Not a big deal, right? One of the things you notice in this is that it's not hard for me to answer not a big deal because it is part of the narrative. This was present or not in this real situation that I can evaluate. And part of the reason that's powerful is because what motivates us doesn't change. That's a scientific dynamic. It doesn't change over our lifetime. And so I don't have to feel bad that I'm marking something low, right? It's just not that big a deal. I got a positive response to people. Yeah, that's a huge deal. I gain and express deep understanding. That's a big deal. I gain recognition. Yeah, that's a big deal. I completed the project. Not a big deal. I organized the effort and made sure it ran smoothly. Not a big deal. I reached the goal, moved to the next objective. Not a big deal. I moved stage by stage from idea and result. Yes, but not a huge part of what motivated me. I gained what I wanted, took care of it. Not a big part of it. I successfully confronted a difficult situation. For some people, but again, for me, and notice what they're telling you. Hey, you've selected 7 times for this story. Please select no more than 10 times, right? What they don't want you to do is be like, that was satisfying, that was satisfying. They want you to be like, hey, let's be honest and clear about what was deeply satisfying versus what was just okay, right? And now we get to the second story. I'm gonna pause here and show you what it looks like when we're all done, right? So this is my motivation code. And when you look at this, it's going to show you, right? Over the course of 3 different stories, it's looking at the things that I cared most about. And it says, hey, mastery, making sure that you know something deep is a big deal for you. Excelling, being at the top, winning the prize, that's a big deal for you. It motivates you. The ability to take a whole bunch of stuff and bring it in and comprehend it, but more importantly, after you've comprehended it, how to express it and make it easy for people. That's that teacher side of me. That's a big deal. The ability to pick up new things. Just jump into some complexity, jump into something new, and again, bring it all in, learn it, and demonstrate that learning. That's a motivator. And of course, to make an impact, that's a motivator. What's more important than just having these 5 is that as you read through these 5 and you learn, hey, here's a positive side of it, but here's the shadow side, right? That's a big deal to pay attention to. But more important is you'll take a look at, and you have some exercise to do, but you'll see that as I was answering questions about each of those stories, I'm able to rank 27 different motivations. Now, this doesn't mean that I don't like to make things right. Of course, we all like to do things in the right way, etc. But I am not overly process-centric. And more importantly, what this is really saying is, hey, the notion of doing it perfectly right, the right way, is never going to be a motivator for me. It's the last in things that motivate me, right? So if people say, hey, we have this opportunity to do this perfectly right, that's not going to trigger it for me. I'm not going to get excited to go do it. Same way with, hey, collaborating. Yeah, maybe there's a rare person that I think all I've wanted in life is to collaborate with this person. But more importantly, for the most part, that's not what motivates me. It does motivate others. It just doesn't motivate me. Whereas the opportunity to demonstrate new learning or to comprehend and express a new space, these are things that are highly motivating. And you'll see there's a whole bunch of these guys that are highly motivating to me. That's how you trigger me, get me into things. So imagine if you knew this about yourself, what it looks like to be, from an assessment, truly seen, truly understood, and then more importantly, that you put it into practice. Now, your top 5 and my top 5 are different. That's just the way that is. But imagine what it feels like for a piece of software to have allowed you to tell it 3 of your most impactful stories, 3 of the things where you felt deeply satisfied, and then answer questions about it so that you can truly be seen for the first time. And it allows you to then start looking at the rest of your world through that lens. What you discover is the things that you've been deeply satisfied, they all have some of these patterns, some of these motivations in common. And the places where you're unsatisfied or frustrated often come from places where there's a lack of alignment between your motivation and the effort. Most people are unhappy in their job. And that's because most of the time, the work that's put in front of them isn't aligned with their motivation. Now imagine if you're a boss, what it looks like to shape roles and to shape assignments so that there is greater alignment because you truly see your employees. You see who they are, you see where their strengths are, you see where their motivation is, and you align work so that they wake up every morning excited to go to work. That's the power of the motivation code. That's why I think you should check it out.